I don't know who's in charge of running the X account for the Labour Party, but some of this is absolutely hilarious. Allow me to run through some of this with you, and let's indulge. Just bear with me, because they are unquestionably obsessed with the Reform Party. Now, let's take a look, shall we? Yesterday, a couple of days ago, I did an X post detailing which ones were talking about reform and which ones talking about Nigel Farage, for example. And even one of their pinned comments was Reform UK. It's not pinned anymore. Maybe they saw my video and unpinned it, but nonetheless, the latest one is about reform here. It says, Nigel Farage repeatedly misled the public, etc. This was 45 minutes ago. And then the next one is not reform, then not reform, not reform. But then again, here we go again. Reform. It says bake a cake that represents Nigel Farage's plans for the UK, and then has some weird cake on a chopping board, obviously designed to make it look like they can't even bake a cake. But again, how can we possibly take a government seriously when they're posting junk like this and are clearly obsessed with another party? Moving on, the next one is a repost of Labour Press where it says Nigel Farage repeatedly misled constituents or whatever. Again, about reform. The next is about Nigel Farage quoting and challenging him that his plans for the country, and they say he doesn't know. Again, it's about Nigel Farage. Next, let's have a look. Oh, look, again, it's also about reform. It says Farage announced a new policy at reform. Recycling failed Tories. But again, it's about reform. Let's have a look at the next one. The Tory record on asylum hotels. So again, they're attacking the Tories this time. Now they're actually doing something to promote what they are doing. Then they repost Keir Starmer talking about the NHS. Then we don't have to go too far down to find again about reform. Nothing seems to rile Nigel Farage up like being asked about his tax affairs. Just a few posts down and you guessed it, Nigel Farage has had a lot to say about other people's tax recently, and quotes an interview with Nigel Farage about his tax affairs where he said, his businesses obviously minimise tax or whatever because they employ people, but he doesn't want to publish his personal tax returns, which is perfectly fair. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that at all, but they sought to attack it. And the next one, again, another quote from the same interview, and they quote that as well. Skipping down, we only had to go through one post from Keir Starmer about something they are doing to find another one about reform. Again, talking, allegedly misleading the public. Then, again, requoting West Streeting, who is himself talking about the Reform conference where they were talking about something to do with COVID vaccines and whatever. But again, demonstrating they are clearly obsessed with what's going on with them. A condolences post by Keir Starmer. And, reposting Steve Reed about Nigel Farage. No ideas, Nigel Farage and his clueless crew. Something between Nigel Farage and Z Youssef and Sarah Pochin. All complaints, no answers. And again, look, another post, all complaints, no answers. And again, look, another post, Reform's manifesto leaked ahead of the conference. This goes on. And then Nigel Farage, anywhere but Clacton. Then a post by Keir Starmer, by someone else. And here we go again. Reform are all complaints and no answers, but Labour's getting on with the job. This is insane. Almost every other post for several posts are about Nigel Farage and reform. What on earth do you make of that? This is seriously weird. Now, I had some criticism, I have to admit, about doing lots of videos about the government, Keir Starmer, Bridget Phillipson, Rachel Reeves, etc. But let's think about it. I am a legal commentator. And I turned to talk about politics a little bit. I did a lot of it on my main channel. I created this off the record channel to give you pure political views because some people, again, got upset about them being on the main channel. So I decided to create this here. But again, I am a commentator. They are in government, they are making policies, they are contradicting themselves, they are making stupid decisions, they are saying one thing, doing another. They are in government. They are open to legitimate criticism. Reform, on the other hand, are really that should be the least thing that Labour focus on while they're in government. If they are getting on with the job, why are at least half of their posts about reform? This is absolutely mind-blowing, utterly outrageous. Moving on, also talking about hypocrisy and two-tier reporting, two-tier response and so on. Did you see the story about the trailer, the caravan trailer thing, where apparently there was a photograph here, I'll put it on screen. It had genocide, free Palestine, West Bank, Gaza forever splattered on the side. And reportedly the council refused to do anything about it in Brighton. They wouldn't do anything until, of course, it had the St. George's cross painted on it and suddenly it was whipped away. Hypocrisy and two-tier like you've not seen before. Equally, there's another video with the police talking to young children, demanding their name and address because they're at some kind of protest or demonstration or whatever it is. I don't know the full details, so there is a full caveat here, but they're demanding their name and address. That much is clear from the video. I'll play you the video in a second. And what is clear is that it's all to do with the flag, because they are wearing the St. George's Cross flag. Others might be wearing other flags or whatever. But I'll have some thoughts about that in a minute. Here's the clip.
These four taking the door.
Anyone now?
Yes, they are, but they're going to take it as well. The reason nobody's around.
Now, for starters, the police are demanding name and address because they can do so if they believe that someone is engaged in antisocial behaviour. Now, these are children at some kind of protest, demonstration, whatever it might be. Now, I don't know what's been said, and I'm not commenting on any alleged offence that's happened because I don't know, so I can't comment anyway. But what I do know is that that is a little bit silly to be demanding name and address of children in that area, unless, of course, they've really done something bad, which I'm not aware of. But it all appears to me from the reporting to be about the flag. Now, the hypocrisy and the complete irony here is somebody in the comments pointed out that the officers have, at least one of them, on their back, they have the British flag emblem on the back of their uniform, which strictly speaking is not part of the uniform, and some officers have been criticised for having that. But nonetheless, I wouldn't criticise that. I'd be proud for our officers to wear the British flag or whatever, part of a uniform or not. That'd be perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. But this just strikes me as all a little bit strange. And it's just like the reporting on the horrific killing of Irina Zarutska, and the lack of reporting and the detail in the way that it's reported and this sort of thing. I think it's utterly disgraceful. There was one, I understand actually, there was one reference to Wikipedia, and they've written it up in Wikipedia as the killing of rather than the murder of. Now, being the lawyer, that may be because the guy's not yet been convicted of murder. So at the moment it's the killing of, rather than the murder, because it becomes murder when it's a conviction of the guy of killing this poor girl. But I mean, either way, I don't think they've gone to that length of thought, to be perfectly honest. I think that they've just written it up differently than they've written other things. And again, I think that's disgraceful. I think this is where the laws on, I mean, this is a different jurisdiction anyway, but I think that the laws on contempt of court sort of go out of the window, because I think the amount of people and reporting and commentary on that incident, the rules of contempt of court completely go out of the window, because it was all filmed. Everyone saw it happen. Everyone knows what happened to a large extent. There's no debate what happened. Of course, he will stand trial. He's been charged federally with murder now, and so that will take its course forward. but the amount of reporting on that, it would be impossible for anyone to have avoided that anyway. But the difference in reporting is horrendous, and that is why this video is not sponsored, but that is why on my other channel I do partner with Ground News, because they give you stories from both sides, the left and the right, and I think that is genuinely interesting. And so there are so many of these things, the way they're reported, the way they're policed. For example, with the policing protests, do you see the police questioning young children who are flying a Palestine flag, for example? Not saying they should, but as I have seen in that clip I showed you, questioning children, but they're not seen to be doing so in many other cases. Really, I can understand why people feel that that is two-tier policing in the way that they respond or don't respond to different things. Just like the protests outside police stations and throwing things at the police station. And people have questioned, why have they not been charged with criminal damage, for example? There are lots of questions here. But I find this is a very, very interesting, very bizarre times we're in. But overall, how can we possibly take any of this seriously? The different reporting, and when we have a government, the Labour Party, who is in government, posting things like a cake saying bake a cake that represents Nigel Farage's plans for the UK. How can we take that seriously? This is supposed to be a serious country, and this account is at least half of the time posting about Nigel Farage and reform. If anything, I would suggest it's giving them more publicity and it's giving them more justification for people to believe in an alternative party rather than supporting Labour ever again. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is my general commentary. As I said, some people criticise me for talking about Labour and Starmer and the rest of the crew, but this is why. Because if we don't all understand how ridiculous this is, this country is doomed. Generally, we have to understand this. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is why we're here off the record. You want my real views? Here they are. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.